I'm in a process at the moment that started a few years ago that I'm still in, which is all about paring down and simplifying and creating a life for me that is what I truly need to nurture me. I've had to do a lot of shedding and letting go, partly through circumstances because of moving house a lot. And what I've learned through all those moves is how objects, they can weigh you down, and if you're attached to those objects, if they give you your identity, then you can be very sad to have to leave them behind, and you can grieve for them, almost like a person. But actually, they're just things, they're just objects.
You've kind of changed your lifestyle, really, your whole career path and everything. You just kind of let go.
I think a lot of people find that very frightening, and they'll say, gosh, you're terribly brave to do it. But actually, for me, the bravest thing is staying in a place for the lifetime that you're unhappy in. That would strike fear into my heart. To be in a relationship that's no longer working, that's not valuing you, not honouring you, not giving you space to grow. That is terrifying to me. So the fact that I accepted a job, for example, in Moscow, I don't speak a word of Russian. I didn't really even know where it was on the map. And I took a job as a nanny teaching English to Russian children at the age of 47. Never lived in anywhere like Russia before. Got on the plane, didn't even know whether they'd let me in the country. People said to me, my God, that's so brave. I'd be terrified. There's no way I could do that. That was easy compared to living in a loveless relationship where you sleep not touching in the bed all night because you don't love them anymore, but you're too bloody scared to leave. So flying to Moscow where I knew nobody and didn't speak a word of Russian, actually compared to that is a bit of a doddle.
What would you say has led you to this kind of understanding about yourself and your own needs now?
It's difficult to be precise, but I think one strand is a realisation that actually the more steps you take into the unknown, the stronger you get and the easier it gets. The first few leaps are terrifying, but actually it gets easier and easier and easier. And after a while, I've learnt to trust my instincts much more. I don't ask other people's opinion about me and my life. I'm almost getting to the point where I don't care about other people's opinion, and that sounds quite challenging perhaps to some people, but I'm more interested in what my conscience says to me than to any advice that any person could give me. I've reached a point where I, more than ever, and I'm still on a journey here, but more than ever, I know myself. And it's been a hard slog to get here, but now I'm not giving up that person for anybody. If I have regret, it's when I have had a clear intuition or sense that I should not do something or do something, and I have pushed it aside and gone ahead anyway. And those have almost inevitably been the times when I look back with hindsight, I can see that was an important crossroads, that I could have made my life a lot happier or easier, or it could have been a lot more beneficial in some ways if I had reached that point and gone, actually, here is a moment of choice, I'm going to go left, when actually I went right, and then later on realised I should have gone left all along. But the other thing I've learned is that none of that is really wasted, because maybe that other 2 years of wrestling and dealing with stuff, having gone down that path, has helped me to be where I am today. But I do feel sometimes that, there are moments like a crossroads that you come to in your life, and you know which way you're to go. But sometimes people will then ask half a dozen other people, what do you think? What do you think I should do? And 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you, oh no, I don't think, that'd be a bit hard, because their fear will stop you. So you have to learn to listen to your own truth, really.
Yes. And I guess giving yourself the space to acknowledge that is important, to learn to know when it is your own truth, because I suppose sometimes we don't really hear that, do we? We don't hear that little voice inside.
Well, most of us are too busy rushing about from one thing to the other, meeting other people's demands on us. So, to actually sit on your own, quietly thinking, how many people do that in a typical day?
Do you feel then that it's important that we do allow ourselves that as much as possible?
If you can't sit quietly with yourself, you can't hear what you can't tap back into what you really believe is right. You can't, you're just making a decision based on a knee-jerk reaction. And to say those are often the ones that you regret because you haven't allowed yourself enough time to really feel, well, why have I got this slightly uneasy feeling? It's a sort of subtle uneasiness about this. What is it about that? That's something that's not necessarily going to become clear in 5 minutes. It might take an hour or two. It might take a week to winkle it out of its hiding place, And then you think, well, actually, I know why now, and that's why I'm not going to do this thing, or that's why I'm going to do this thing.
So we can learn from everything.
Of course,
yes. Thank you very much, Lynne.